should be okay up this hill. It's looking away. Christian was in the yard, and I was able to ask him if it was a bit icy. He says it isn't. So, I mean, basically it's relatively dry finally, and there is a bit of ice at the side, and he said it was icy on top as well, where it had been a bit of rain. But I don't think we need to worry. It's actually 3 degrees now, but it was -2 in the night. The thing is, it's well, this clock says it's 9:45, but it's about 22. Yeah, it is quite icy here, potentially. This is just this bit here is the worst because of the water running down from that point there where their drain hole is bunged up. And there where it's trampled in. They weren't as heavy as I thought. Because last tree I took, I struggled to get up there in second. But what I did think with these, when we took the other three, I thought these 3 slightly younger ones were actually better shapes than the older ones I took. So they aren't as heavy though, apparently. This is another of Malton's sort of special days, special sale days, but it's really more for breeding stuff. However, I'm taking these. I texted him about 2 weeks ago, and he didn't answer the text, which is unusual. So I'm not entirely sure they're properly entered, but it really doesn't matter. It's not like that's one of the drawbacks of Russet, is that if you haven't properly entered them, you can't just take things. They have these special sales, and there's a limited number of places available. Essentially, I mean, it's fair enough in a way. They haven't got elastic walls, have they? They just can't cope with too many down there. Whereas Malton has the outdoor pens that can always fit them in one way or another. But they won't be using them today, I don't suppose. I should be there about 10:30. If not before. I don't quite know what time it is exactly, but I think this clock in here is 5 minutes. It's never been a good timekeeper. I have my phone, but it's in a bag, so I'm not going to look at that. And I never have a watch on. We're doing 11.5 miles per gallon at this point. I'll just keep going in third up here while it gets properly warmed up. Anyway, this pickup, it had its MOT and service on Tuesday. And passed again, but they made a note about, well, I didn't actually note it on the thing, it's pointed out that the exhaust back box, the final part of the system, except apart from a pipe on the end maybe, as it's corroding and just to say leaking. I mean, the weird thing is, on the Monday, which is the day before, I thought I heard a little funny vibrating noise back there, and I couldn't quite work out whether it was just vibrating, something in the back, or it was possibly an exhaust blowing. But I didn't see out because what happened was I was coming home relatively fast, like 60 miles an hour probably, into the headwind, and it was quite hard work for it. So on the main road, then I dived off the main road a bit soon across to the headwind, and oh, this bloody shake, what's she doing? Anyway, I didn't really notice anymore after that. And I sort of convinced myself it was maybe just a vibration, because it certainly could have been. But I didn't mention that to him, and they picked up on it. I don't know whether it, to some extent, messed up the testing. I don't suppose it did, so it wouldn't have passed it, would it? But anyway, apparently this little box at the end, if you buy a genuine Isuzu one, it's about £500 plus VAT, which is a bit outrageous really for a tin can. But they said they have some, they can get something from eBay, which is like a pattern part that fits, so you're going to get one of them, fit that on. It says he doesn't think it's any different. Well, it's different I guess, but it just does the job, because it's not like the catalyst or something. It's just the final part of the exhaust, which is a wider metal piece, and it's right by the rear wheel, so it gets all the salt. But anyway, I came along here, I haven't really noticed it noisy yet. But I must admit though, before the MOT, I can't remember exactly what I did, but the last couple of times before, I was sort of half expecting something to might go wrong, because as far as I knew, there's nothing to do. You can't do anything when there's nothing to do. But I was half expecting something might turn up, literally days before the test, which might be like brake, because once before, you know, it was about 12,000 miles. It needed new brake pads, and you know, I noticed that because it started vibrating through the steering when you braked. And I thought, well, it's on 24,000 now, it must be about due for them again. But it hasn't needed them yet. But perhaps, as it's gotten older, well, I think, to be honest, you maybe abuse it more as it gets older. But when you get a new thing, you go a bit more careful, don't you? Well, I'm not sure that's true, because you know when it's new, you sort of trust it implicitly, don't you? Because nothing's old. I think they've been over that field with something, might be a spray, slug pellets, nitrogen. I don't know how they managed it. Because it looks really wet at the top, doesn't it? It has been a funny winter actually. Time and again they've had more rain this side of the hill than we've had, and we've had plenty. And another somewhat surprising thing, at this side of the hill they tend to get more fog and freezing conditions, and it can be colder. Obviously it can be warmer as well, but it's not unusual for, even though we're higher up and because we're near the sea, and we don't have that inversion type effect to the same extent, especially like through November, December, January, it can be warmer with us than here. But that all reverses now. We get the cold winds off the sea, sometimes for days and weeks on end, as you get into March and April, and into May sometime. Down here it's basically summer and we're still icy cold. These pickups, a big ugly looking thing, I think that's a Ford. He's done something at it, that one. And it's a 14 plate. speaking of which, you see, there's been a big fuss about pickups. They changed the category on that they were going to be classified as company cars, or not company cars, I can't remember which it was now, company cars rather than commercial vehicles, because they're a car-like van, essentially a van pickup, sort of, that's car-like. So yes, there is some scope for classification, but the upshot of that was that it wouldn't have particularly affected most farm versions, but the ones being bought as company cars, which could still be sort of used, like that one there, that's a smart one, shall we say, it's still performing a useful work function. But you can see where it's coming from. It's the bloody Greens and all trying to demonise because they're a bit big, but they're lighter than nearly all EVs. And you know, what is the problem with having a car which can also tow 3.5 tons when you need to, like I'm doing now? I'm just doing that much in it, and you can throw all sorts of mucky stuff in the back, and yet it's still a serviceable car which you can carry up to 4 passengers in. Why is that to be discouraged? Do they want you to have a proper van, like a transit, and a car as well? But anyway, after causing uproar about that, really, and all the greenie types trying to support it, and all the normal people saying, what the hell is that all about? Because it wouldn't actually make a huge difference directly to the ones run by farms, but or the ones that were seriously used for work, but it would kind of pull the rug from under the whole market for them. So lots of farms are probably looking out for a 2 or 3 year old one, oh god, that's been well looked after, quite low mileage or whatever, which, you know, and then they'll maybe run it for another 4 or 5 years before even into the ground, working it quite hard. All those vehicles that were bought to more or less, you know, used as a car, they're suddenly not going up anymore. So the volume of sales drops dramatically. The volume of those vehicles drops dramatically. It's just generally not very helpful, is it? If you're in the market for an older one. But anyway, I can't help thinking the whole thing was a bloody performance, because this is when all these farm processes were starting. And then at the NFU conference of all places, they announced, oh, we've changed our mind, we're not going to do that now. So I think you're supposed to think, oh, aren't this government lovely? They were going to do away with farmers' pickups, and now they haven't. Well, they're about that crude, frankly. There's something very funny about it, at the timing of it, I mean. So they thought it would kind of defuse the farming protest that they were quite scared of, because they've been going a bit mad in Europe. I think it's fizzling out a bit now, because they have, to be fair, they have made some sort of concessions, but I don't know what they're like. Instead of bringing it in next year, it's going to be phased in over 5 years and things like that. I don't know that's exactly what's happened, but that's the sort of thing that they will do. All these changes of plotting, for want of a better word, where all to do with green stuff. That's what truly you don't see this lights on red very often at all. They only put it in because of the Mickle Hill place down there, retirement. She looks like she might be from there. I just wonder what my PM level's on 1. But anyway, I'm going to say about this had its service and MOT, and he's had to cut it on the 1st of March, look. And anyway, I wasn't quite sure what they were going to charge for that, but the MOT was £48 and the total bill was £245, of which £39 was VAT. They've resurfaced all this road, they've redone the speed bumps. I don't know, I sort of get the impression they aren't quite as vicious. Because they were all covered in gouge marks from things hitting them, scraping them. It could be snow ploughs or car sumps, all them front spoiler things. Dogs in the back of there. It'd be nice if we actually get stopped at the traffic light so you look at them. Oh, they're barking. There's 4. They're barking because it's a pickup with a trailer on. There might be some sheep in it. There must be nobody coming the other way because it's been on green for quite a long time. I think it's still only about 10:30 and unloaded and on the way home, so be back by 11:30. Don't care really, I'm not stopping with. I mean, I like to have a quick walk round, but you can't park right by the market very often. If you do, your days are getting blocked in, so you can't easily do that. Anyway, it was about half full with relatively small bullocks and store cattle mainly. It's funny, it's this van behind me. I'm sure he tried to overtake me at the traffic light. I thought he was going to zoom past me, I think. It's so weird, it's almost like he wasn't fully licensed, like some lad had nicked it. I thought he was going to try and reverse into the driveway there. There's a little driveway, it says leave, keep clear. But anyway, then he backed in again. I just don't know what he was doing.